Hello and welcome to the show. This week's FailRace versus Community. We were going racing, well, a one-make race with the 2010 Clio. However, the cars were to be built to B-Class, and that gave you plenty of freedom as to how you built your car. There were plenty of still front-wheel drive, but you will have noticed a couple of cars that launched off the line very, very quickly. Indeed, you could drivetrain swap the vehicle if you wanted. Likewise, you could go for an engine swap, and there were some interesting options, including a Rotary, hence why you will see the orange and black car buzzing around. You give me an option of a Rotary, I'm always going to go for it. I don't know whether it's the best option, but when there's a Rotary option available, I'm going to go for it. I got a little bit unlucky in this first race. Came over the top of the hill, someone made a small mistake, and I got sort of boxed in behind them with nowhere to go. This green car that we're following at the moment had the better options and was able to get out of trouble as the field. You can see the lead two managing to scarper away a little bit at the start of this race. Always helpful if you can start near the front and try and get out of the chaos that you see going on behind the car we're following. As a look at going around the outside of the second part of the chicane, not quite able to do it as they now head up towards this very, very fast final corner. I wouldn't want to quite have had my wheels on the grass, I'll be honest, going over there, but everybody was okay. You see, group ahead continues to fight. I had got more of a handling car this time around as the car locked up his brakes, narrowly avoiding the back of my vehicle. I'd very much got a more handling car. Okay, straight line speed in mind, but no match for some of the other vehicles. The purple car that I was racing, for example, very quick in a straight line as we round the final corner. It's side by side. I got to make sure I give him enough space. Actually, very, very polite with the amount of room on the outside. Purple car has got the measure of me down the straight, but I can brake so much later. And again, I keep to the inside as we run through this first corner. And that would be enough to get me ahead. It is a little bit of run, an uphill run towards the next corner, but the purple car isn't able to get close enough. It's a very tricky place to get an overtake done at the top of that hill. The battle around the top three continued with another purple vehicle struggling with getting the car slowed down for the chicane. Kind of jumps across the inside, but you end up on such a wonky line for the second part. It makes him slow. He's coming under increasing pressure from the black car as we head into the final corner right on the curb there. It's a terrible, terrible tyre bundle. We saw it cause issues in the Turbo Tourers. It's everybody getting away with it so far in this one. Black car not fancying trying to go around the outside of turn one, instead choosing to go for the cutback, and does get the better run up the hill. And as he opened the door, the car behind the red and white vehicle also is keen to buy into that one, gets to the inside at the top of the hill. Poor purple car loses 2 places in as many corners. Yet when you've got a group of cars, and despite there being a fair amount of kind of possibilities as to how to build your cars, these did end up being relatively close, relatively competitive. Yeah, you make a little mistake and you could open the door to everyone. We did actually see quite a lot of rally crossing here. The white car frantically been trying to defend from the green car, ends up just outbraking himself and going for a tour of the grass. Well, you saw a lot of it. I don't particularly know why with these vehicles, but there was a fair amount of exploration on the go. Me included went rally crossing at a couple of points. As we came to the closing stages of the race, the pair at the front had closed up. The green car had been doing the hunting towards the very latter part of this race. No real options going into turn one. The white car defending, but when you do take that defensive line, you make yourself, or you run the risk of making yourself very slow off of the corner. The green car has a look, but still can't quite get the move done. Don't worry about the car behind. That's a lap down car. As they continue, he continues to look, continues to harry, trying to find a way past down the S's. It's a rare place to get overtakes. It's mostly flat out in these vehicles. Again, there was kind of the door ever so fractionally ajar. The green car stuck his nose in, but it didn't quite work out. However, they didn't lose a huge amount of time in doing it, and that is often the important thing as we head now down towards this chicane. Still, the white car goes defensive on the inside, and once more is a little bit slow off of the first part. Again, puts you on a wonky line for the second part, makes you slow on the run up the hill. Still going to defend that place, though, as we head down towards the final corner. The green car's having to get brave now, having to try and do things the long way at the final turn. Again, there's a little bit of a bump between the pair of them, but the green car stays on the outside, very evenly matched in terms of a straight line speed. These two, the green car, though, that little bit better through the corners, can carry the speed on the outside of turn one, and has got the acceleration up the hill to just get across in front of the white car. A little bit of rally crossing himself there almost puts him in trouble. The white car, again, looking for that any opportunity he could at the top, or the run down the hill, I should say, sorry, but unable to make anything stick. A fantastic battle there for the lead, and still the white car is having a look, trying to find a way past as they come on to the back straight. But it would be, well, I say it would be for nothing. You wouldn't be able to make anything stick. As I said, a valiant effort at trying to hang on to the lead. In the end, the green car just a little bit too fast, well driven to get that sort of a lap-long battle almost to take that lead. Yeah, fantastic race at the front. It was a little bit more spread out further back. As I said, a few rally crossing incidents involved, me included, in all of that. I ended up driving back behind the purple car and fought with him for a good number of laps trying to find a way past. I could carry so much corner speed in the Rotary Clio, but I was unable to make a move stick because the purple car was so very quick at a straight line. I threw everything at him in the final corner. I got myself to the inside, but it wasn't enough. The acceleration of the purple car would keep him ahead only fractionally, though. It was a thoroughly enjoyable race, even with a couple of mistakes from me. As second round, we head out to the Catalonia National Circuit. Again, you can spot the cars that are not front-wheel drive. Most people preferring to leave the driveline standard. Certainly in this one, we see one of the grey car at the front scarpering away, I believe was rear-wheel drive. But yeah, most people preferring to leave the drivetrain standard. Unfortunately, we would have a bit of a kind of concertina shunt into the first corner. We'd see a couple of cars off the track. I would thankfully survive all of that mayhem as we now start running up the hill. It's always going to be busy, especially when you start mid-pack in these races. On the opening laps, I'm busy looking for a way, trying to go around the outside of the black car. You can do that through this very fast chicane. It is a decidedly dodgy maneuver. Everybody's got to be very aware, and you've really got to be right alongside to pull that one off. And I wasn't quite close enough as we run into the hairpin. A little bit, again, concertina effect bump between a few cars. Still leaves me stuck out on the outside, unable to do too much. It's kind of dodging the traffic a little bit at this stage. You try to pick off places as and where you can. It just wasn't really going my way in this one as we dive into the final quarters once more. Again, you can see the gap that the leaders can get when you run in clean air. The amount of gap you can make on the opening lap is huge when everybody is fighting like this in, as I said, relatively evenly matched cars. Further back, this time we had less of the rally crossing, which is always good to see. Actually had a really big battle further down the order, and this would rage for pretty much the entirety of the race as we come into the hairpin and one of these early laps. The white and blue car trying to get himself to the inside, clambering all over the curbs. Does actually manage to get the move done, gets the acceleration out of the corner to get past before they get into the next turn. Kind of the dive up the inside of the hairpin doesn't always quite pay off because you often end up on the outside for that very long corner, but they made that one stick. More bravery here as we head too wide into the fast chicane. As I said, you can just about get passes done through here. It is one of the tougher spots on the circuit with the vomit-coloured. I don't know the better way of describing this particular car, but it's an interesting. It is the vomit-mobile. Let's face it. Anyway, you're getting the move done. As I said, less rally crossing here at Catalonia, which, well, funnily enough, led to closer racing. These guys bunching up even. I say less rally crossing as the white and blue car takes a small trip across the grass. They still end up going nose to tail into this final little chicane bit. Not quite any space on the inside. Just there, a big slide and a twitch from what I would imagine is another rear-wheel drive of the Clio as they head onto the start-finish line. Said this group further back was very busy throughout a large portion of this race. We tend to see groups sort of split up into twos and threes. It's normally the way that it goes. It's quite unusual to see so many cars fighting for so long. There's a move up the inside as we come towards the top of the crest as everybody is flying through that chicane. You don't want to end up out too wide as the blue car, having got the pass done so well, is now going to come under fire into the hairpin, although as he does, the black and red car just runs out of space. There's not a huge amount of room there, gets a little bit squeezed, and in all of that ends up dropping a place further back. You've got to be careful if you see the car ahead is likely to try and defend. You try to take such a tight line through those corners, you lose all of your momentum and you'll end up, well, losing the place as they continue to squabble through here. And this was probably the most exciting part of the race for long periods of time. The purple car was leading this group. It eventually starts to spread out a little bit more. It was interesting to see the different ways the cars were built. For example, the car that we are following here had all of the straight line speed. The other black and red car had all of the handling. So by the time we get to turn 1, our vehicle here has managed to out-drag his opposition from a long way back as well. He was a long way back as sticks a wheel on the grass, goes around. Yeah, outruns him down the start-finish line, but then is no match through turn 1 and 2. And that's a huge amount of speed. It's a huge amount of time to have gained through those corners and to have swept past so easily. Shows you just how much grip the other car had. Yeah, again, it's always the interesting conundrum. How do you build your cars for something like this? At the front, and it would be the white Clio that would go on to take victory in a relatively calm race. There was a grey car around for a little while that made a mistake and dropped back. Yeah, the top two managed to scarper away at the front. It is always helpful when you can manage to do that, stay out of trouble, and make as fewer mistakes as possible. Then that is always the way that you want things to be going. Much more exciting finish further back. I had been in pretty much battles the entire race, and on the final lap I'd lost a position to the white and green car. I was determined to try and fight my way back past as we head into these final corners. The chicane is a notoriously difficult place to overtake. I threw my car up the inside. I actually got launched off the curb a little bit too much. I got very sideways, gave the white and green car a little bit of a tag. And as you go around the final corner, I'm on the inside, but I've got a very poor run. I've compromised both of us as we head down here. I have to make sure I get across just to fend off the other white and green car. And I managed to hold on to the position. I gave it a go. You kind of have to give it a go when you're coming up towards the final corner. But it was a pretty close finish. Not the closest photo finish we have ever had, but between three cars is not bad. Not bad going. We were separated by less than a couple of hundredths, I think, between us, because the white and dark green car was actually going a lot quicker than the pair of us, because we slowed each other down around that final corner. So yeah, I did make it for a fairly hair-raising dash towards the finish line. Yeah, at the end it kind of finished the order it had been, but a lot closer than we were initially expecting. A good fun race indeed. For our third and final race, I decided to be a little bit mean. You see, it's been a while since we had done one of these in the wet, and I figured the Clios had actually been really rather good fun up until this point. Why not give these cars a try? Turn 1 here at Silverstone caused a little bit of issues for the white Renault, running a little bit too wide as the green car would get past. I think the green vehicle ahead was rear-wheel drive. Got very quick start off of the line. Now I don't think anybody actually went for an all-wheel drive conversion on their Renault. If you had have done, that would have been rather helpful come this particular situation. But yeah, as far as I know, they were all rear-wheel drive or front-wheel drive. Car we are riding on board with would get a much better run onto the main straight and get himself to the inside. They were both being caught by the Vomitmobile as they head down towards the next corner, although 3 wide in the rain on the opening lap is probably not the best idea through there. So the Vomitmobile backs out, and we'll have to be content with gaining 1 place rather than 2 as they head into these final couple of corners. Very good under brakes, closed up an awful lot on the leader there, but not able to do anything at this stage. Now, I was very much buried in the pack. I had to lift out through turn 1 to avoid some chaos and had dropped myself down towards the back of the field. So as you can imagine, it was all very hectic, but things are about to get a lot more scary for me, hence why we have got things in the interior view. This would be the view that I was using when I was racing up against a certain purple car as we come around the final corner. I know he's going to have the speed on me down towards turn 1. I'm happy to sit and follow. I know I'll be quicker through the corners. What I wasn't expecting was the huge roll as the car bounces across the curb, and then we have another blue car get huge sideways moment that I have to take avoiding action. We end up across the grass trying to get my car back on the track. Now, the turn 1 curb here is notorious for rolling cars. I wasn't expecting the Clios, though, to necessarily have that sort of issues. That was a very close call for me. It was a very close call. I saw it go up on its side. I thought it was going to come back down again, but no. It was a gotta somehow managed to avoid all of it without any damage. But There we go. Once more, despite the adverse weather conditions, the racing was actually proving to be really rather good, as the purple car gets himself in trouble across a puddle, loses a bit of that all-important momentum down towards this very, very fiddly final section in cars like these. Quite difficult to get overtakes done through here, as you see how close they're literally bumper to bumper, as the replay camera can't quite show the vehicle ahead around that final corner, being pretty much assisted all the way around by the grey cars. Again, they head now down towards turn 1. You got, as I said, you've got to be very, very careful with that inside curb. There is also a puddle on the outside I didn't realise about, but a few cars were getting into trouble, and sure enough, the purple vehicle was yet another one that they kind of brushed the puddle, brushed the curb, and it spits the car sideways. That is quite an uncomfortable moment, I would imagine, if you were driving on it. The grey car does make the most of it to move up a position, immediately runs wide across a puddle, and then loses all of that hard work, almost coming under fire from the car behind, although he gets into trouble across a curb and gets spat out onto the grass the other side. So yeah, all of that hard work did not quite pay off. The curbs were to claim, well, more victims, although for the white and green car, an incredible save, trying to catch. The leader is absolutely massive too. That is pretty much wing mirror on the floor sort of stuff. Manages to recover that, yet you're going to take a little bit of punishment having to go the long way through the tyre bundles, but importantly gets away without going for a tumble, would rejoin. Yeah, lost 3 places in all of that, but would rejoin with the car in decent enough condition. It's one of the most on its side we've had a car for a very long time, and managed to bring it back down again. It's, yeah, seriously impressive amount of it's not even 2 wheels, it's more the door action through there. And having done all of that, it is straight back into the action. There is no time to rest for the white and green car as they come barreling down the long straight. Is on the outside trying to find a way past. When that's not working, waits for the green car to run a little bit wide, goes for the cutback. The green vehicle on the AstroTurf out wide. You're not going to find a huge amount of grip over there, and well, that's one of the places made back up. So in half a lap has gone from, well, fighting for the lead to on his side, and then go back to overtaking cars once more, you know, as you do a regular day on certainly for FailRace on Forza. And there would be another big tumbler though. Again, turn 1, white and blue car carrying a little too much speed on the inside, and over goes the Clio with a spectacular number of rolls. You can't get away with running the curb there. You will be punished if you bounce across the curb. I honestly don't think the way I built my Clio was anywhere near as, I guess, as stiff as some of these other cars. I wasn't having particular issues. The car ahead of me would get the big sideways moment across the puddle coming into turn 1, and I was keen to try and take advantage of it. My Clio was actually working very, very well in the wet here, as I have a dive up the inside, making sure to now try and not run too wide. But you still, when you're on that line, you always tend to get fired out a little bit wide. I didn't go quite as far off the track, but still got the puddle. Had to make sure to leave the white car space on the inside. But just the grip I had in the rotary powered Clio was enough. As I said, I have no idea if the rotary engine is the right way to go. There were a few rotaries, certainly weren't the most popular choice in engines, but in these wet conditions, I was, yeah, very happy with my car, despite having been a fair way down the order. Even with all of these rolls, it wasn't the most peculiar of incidents. No, that would go to the grey Clio. Runs a little bit wide, gets sideways, and as it goes across the curb and hits the puddle, the car gets spat sideways, and he can't gather it all back up. Once you're on the grass, you stand absolutely no chance of getting any control, and ends up, well, yeah, having to tour the pit lane. I haven't seen that one, I don't think, before in a versus the community. It is, yeah, once you're on the puddle, it is a very, very easy mistake to get caught up in, because you have very little control. Once you're on the grass, you're done for. You are going whatever way the game decides you are going, and, well, that's very unfortunate for the poor grey car. It can happen. It can happen in these conditions. I was, again, spending most of my race inside battles while I wasn't fighting at the very front. It was good fun, just having all sorts of different cars to race with. This white Clio considerably faster than mine in a straight line, but again, no match for my vehicle when it came to the corners we head up towards these final turns. I was having to try and get brave, go around the outside, couldn't quite make it work, although the white car drives in so deep that it isn't quite able to pull it up in time. I'm going to go for that cutback, try and get the inside line round the final corner. That would work, and now the red and white car is coming under all sorts of pressure. like I said before, when there's a group of cars, when one of them opens the door, everybody is very, very keen to try and follow through. Couldn't quite all sort of steam train past the red and white car this time around. He would, again, that straight line speed is quite helpful for gathering yourself back up again when you get towards the next straight, and he would manage to just about fend it off forward. Now, gotta love the good old Forza replay interior views at the front, and things would be relatively simple. Relatively simple again for the Voigtmobile, having had that early pressure with the white and green car having gone for a very, very big accident. I would manage to scarp away at the front, and again, the critical thing, don't make any mistakes. You can get away from the early battlings, don't get caught up in trouble, don't spin on the curbs or go up onto two wheels, and run fast enough lap times, and that will keep you out in front. Yeah, we didn't have any massive big battles for the lead per se with these cars, but there was an awful lot of fun to be had further back. I had 2 photo finishes, and the third race was brilliant as well, so I had an awful lot of fun. The Rotary Clio was a brilliant thing. I think all Clio should be Rotary. It'd make things a lot more interesting. Yeah, was a lot of fun with these vehicles. While, you know, normally one make races with absolutely identical cars, yeah, it's probably where you're going to get the very, very closest of racing. Even this, where there is such a vast array of options you could have done with the car, 3 different drive lines, 4 different engines you could have put in the vehicle, still ended up all relatively close and proved plenty of exciting action. That, though, is going to be it for this video. The next Versus the Community is going to be tomorrow on Thursday, the 27th of July. We're going to be on Forza Horizon 3 racing vehicles from the Classic Rally category. If you want to sign up and take part in that, you can via our forums. There will be a link in the description. Find the FailRace Versus the Community section, and you can sign up in there. That's going to be it from me. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.